Neo, Eric, are you there? This is a quick pop-up show. I'm not expecting anyone to be around, but we thought we'd do this anyways. Because then when it's done, it's up for everyone to see. And we're trying to mix it up a little bit, aren't we, Neo? Trying to keep it like different topics, different, what's important in this summer investigation. Yeah, keep surprising. Today, we are going over the Cassaras, aren't we, Neo? And how important Sam Carr, Francis Carr, and the Cassaras getting together on that day were to David.
The letter writing that went on with David Berkowitz that was able then to reveal his name. And that's how they were able, once they had his name, they were able to get information on him. And without that information, when that phone call came in, that prior investigation to that phone call wouldn't have been going on between Navallo and the cars. So it was very important, the letter writing that went on with Berkowitz here. It all led up to his name being revealed.
In Navallo, there was also Chamberlain.
Right.
They worked together. And
right.
In fact,
they were cops just assigned to the sector that were going out of their way, stopping at the car house.
And they weren't simple cops because, as Yonkers Detective Alfred Cavarini told me when I interviewed him, Intervallo was the type of man who would listen to anybody who could say something and offer anything. He wouldn't discard anybody. He listened to every single thing and took it in.
Yeah, no, they were good cops. They paid attention to this. Like I said, they were going out of their way a lot because the cars were in their sector. So you got that letter, the first letter, Rena, from Sam Carr?
Yes, I do.
Right. This letter here was written on April 10th by Berkowitz to Sam Carr. Right. Sam Carr received that on the 11th of April in 1977.
4 pages.
Yeah. And Berkowitz is trying to be cordial. He's in the middle of the shootings right here. But Harvey is now the center of his madness. He obviously has shifted from Gonzalo's, the dogs over there on Wicker, and he's now focused on Harvey here.
Do we have an exact date for the letter?
The letter was written on the 10th of April, and Sam got it on the 11th. Right.
He's being very cordial here, isn't he? He's being reasonable.
Right. He's not getting his sleep, and he's blaming Harvey.
Yeah.
Right. So then, a week later, right, April 17th, Valentina Soriani, 18 years of age, of 1950 Hutchinson River Parkway, of the Baychester section of the Bronx, was an acting major at Herbert H. Lehman College, Bronx, New York. She was shot and killed at 3 a.m. as she sat in a parked car with Alexander Esau in front of 1878 Hutchinson River Parkway near her home. Alexander, 20 years of age, who lives with his father at 352 West 46th Street, was employed as a tow truck operator helper. He was also shot and killed. They had attended a movie prior to being in this location. Both were sitting in the driver's seat when the killer approached on the driver's side and fired through the closed window. Donna Loria and Jody Valenti were shot just a few blocks away. At the scene, the killer left a letter addressed to New York City Detective Joseph Borelli. The letter was described by the police as rambling, incoherent, and ghoulish in tone. The car Alexander and Valentina were sitting in belonged to Alexander's brother. So you see that's the attack there on those two. And then he dropped this letter here. He's trying to get the public's attention now also.
I believe that letter was in an envelope.
Correct. Yeah, the envelope in the beginning. And this letter, to me, tells you who the son of Sam really is, as he is talking from Harvey's perspective a lot. And I'll get that in another episode. Right. So after the shooting on the 17th, right, on the 19th, he decides to write another letter to Sam. Now he's going to be threatening Sam. Sam receives it on the 20th. That's the second letter to Sam. And here he's, it's 2 days after he does the shooting. Obviously, we see Sam's dog is what irked him out going to do the shootings again. That's where he puts his blame on. And after Sam receives this letter, okay, the day after, on the 21st, Sam Carr of 316 Warburton Avenue reported to the Yonkers police that he had received threatening letters, one which came on April 11, stating legal papers would be filed relative to his dog barking. He received another letter on April 20th complaining again about his dog barking. This time, the writer claimed his life was being destroyed and he had nothing to love, no peace in his life.
Now, Neil,
his family's life until Sam Carr's life was ended. The first letter was anonymous, while the second was signed a citizen. Wheat Carr, who is Sam Carr's daughter, was also present during this interview. Police officers Peter Navallo and Thomas Chamberlain, as well as Detective Reynold Baker and William Kennedy, Michael Lorenzo, and Edward Oakley made the investigation. So you see here, Sam is now going to Yonkers with these letters. He doesn't know who's sending them. But the threatening letter is what made him go in. The first one he didn't pay attention to too much.
What is the threat? What's the specific threat?
He is threatening him in the second letter as far as, he wants to end his life, that there's no peace in his life because of his dog.
He wants to end Sam Carr's life.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So then on the 27th, a couple days after that, Berkowitz shoots the Carr dog. On April 27th, 1977 at 9:31 a.m., Sam Carr of 316 Warburton Avenue reported his dog Harvey, a black Labrador retriever, was shot. Mr. Carr stated he heard 3 shots from behind his house where he found his dog shot, then observed a white male wearing a dungaree jacket and pants carrying a rifle heading north on the aqueduct. Police officers Wargocki and Hoyt Rogers investigated the shooting and spoke to a witness who refused to give his name. The witness reported he had observed a white male with blonde hair, 6 feet tall, about 18 years old, carrying a rifle, running south on the aqueduct. So here we have his dog getting shot. And, I talked to Hoyt Rogers, the police officer who went there that day, and the Carrs did not know who shot their dog. You see him giving a description of a guy wearing a dungaree jacket and pants. That's the description we know of Berkowitz's clothing. I asked him about the other report there with the guy with the blonde hair, and he said he doesn't remember taking that report. So I can't say anything about that. You talked to him about that. But
the blonde hair.
Yeah, he said there was a guy. Well, the witness that he talked to on the aqueduct reported he had observed a white male with blonde hair, 6 feet tall, about 18 years old, carrying a rifle, running with an aqueduct. Now, we know from reports earlier that there was somebody reported Berkowitz as having a wig. So that's the only thing I could maybe think possible with that witness seeing, because we know it's Berkowitz. He admits it. There's also a letter that Berkowitz wrote on April 27th. That morning, the dog was shot, about how the dog woke him up. And it's not a coincidence that he writes that letter at 7:30, and then at 9:30, the Carr's dog is shot.
Now,
he confesses to this.
Now, there's a sequence of comments by Conspiracy Archives that are interesting. Are you going to cover the boy ring that was busted out in New Rochelle? Does that have to do with any of this?
No.
And then she said, I asked David about it, and he said he didn't know about the she's talking about a boy ring. Oh, so this is completely different, a different topic.
Right.
Completely different topic, I see.
Right. So you see here at the shooting, they don't know Berkowitz. Okay. Hoyt knew Wheat on a personal level. Okay. And he told me that they did not know who shot their dog. They didn't know who did it. So you see here, we're April 27th, 1977. They still don't have Berkowitz's name. They don't know him. They called the police to their house. They're going to Yonkers police, showing him the stuff, trying to figure out what's going on. Who's doing this to my house? Okay.
They were doing a lot behind the scenes, weren't they, Neo?
What's up?
They were doing a lot behind the scenes. I don't think a lot of people realize just how much they were doing.
Well, not yet, because they didn't have his name.
No, but they were complaining. Like, it's not like they weren't not doing
Right,
it.
right. They weren't trying to set
Yeah.
him up. They didn't even know who to set up at this point. Right? So now the cars are there, don't know who's bothering them. They definitely contacted Yonkers already. Right? They had their dog shot. They don't know what's going on. Then on June 6, 1977, okay, Jack and Nan Cassara received a get well card with a picture of a dog on the front. The get well card stated, the sender was sorry to hear Jack Cassara had fallen off the roof and for him to be careful and let the writer know if Nan needed anything. The card was signed Sam and Francis, and the return address on the envelope was Mr. and Mrs. Sam Carr of 316 Warburton Avenue. Nan Cassara, upon receiving the card, called the Carr's residence and realized the Carrs did not send the card, nor did the two families know each other. They both arranged to meet at the Carr house on June 9th. Now, now remember, Berkowitz is at the Cassaras house before he went to Yonkers, and the dogs there bothered him so much that he had to move. So he finds this nice apartment in Yonkers, thinks he can start over, and it's even worse where he
Yeah, the irony.
So he now sends this get well card to the Cassaras, his former residence, putting the Carr's residence on that, causing the Cassaras to call the Carrs, ask them why they sent it, because they don't know each other. So there they said, let me come over to your house on the 9th, which is 3 days after this, and let's discuss this.
And there's no motive to wish them get well.
No, nobody was hurt to my knowledge. I don't think anything happened to Jack. They're puzzled by this card. They don't know what it's about. Now, the day after they get this, on the side, just Craig Glassman gets his first letter. So now, you see Berkowitz now. He's sending Sam. He's sending the Cassaras. Now he's sending Glassman. All these people he feels are bothering him. So on June 9th, then, 1977, Jack and Nan Cassara met with Sam and Francis Carr at their home with the get well card. Sam Carr, upon seeing the writing of the get well card, noted that it appeared to be the same handwriting as the threatening letters he was receiving. So now she comes over and they're comparing their letters. Like, they have no name. They don't know what's going on yet. So they leave there. Nan takes copies. They had a photocopying machine in the Carr house. Obviously, they had an answering service going on. They had that stuff. But she had a photocopy machine. So Nan was able to take copies of the Carr's letters and bring them back home. So the next day, on June 10th, 1977, Nan Cassara discusses with her son, Stephen Cassara, her meeting with the Carrs and how the get well card handwriting matched the Carr's threatening letters. Nan's son, Stephen, points out that the front of the get well card had a dog on it, and the Carr letters were complaining about a dog. Stephen then reminds his mother about the tenant, David Berkowitz, who they were renting the apartment to a year ago, left their house in a rage complaining about their dogs. Stephen's father, Jack Cassara, then looked up David Berkowitz's name in the phone book and realized Berkowitz was living right behind the Carr house at 35 Pine Street in Yonkers. Nan Cassara then calls Sam Carr to tell him she thinks it is David Berkowitz, an old tenant of hers, who was sending those letters, and Berkowitz was living right behind them at 35 Pine Street. So you see, that's how they got his name. She brings the card home. The son figures it out. She goes back to past rent receipts, sees that she was renting the apartment to David Berkowitz, tells her husband the name David Berkowitz. He then goes, looks in the phone book and realizes Berkowitz is living right behind the Carrs. And then they contact the Carrs the next day and say, hey, these letters we feel are being written by this guy, David Berkowitz. So that is how his name gets revealed. And also on this day, on the same day, once Sam gets this information, Sam Carr reports to the Yonkers police officers, Peter Navallo and Thomas Chamberlain, that David Berkowitz, who was living at 35 Pine Street, was responsible for sending those threatening letters to his house. Sam Carr also informed them about the get well card the Cassaras received. Sam Carr now thinks Berkowitz was responsible for shooting his dog. Officers Navallo and Chamberlain indicated that the detective division should be notified, as they felt Berkowitz was responsible for the dog being shot and sending the threatening letters. Sam Carr then goes to the Yonkers detective division to report them the same. So here we have Sam going again into Yonkers. Now, as soon as he gets Dave Berkowitz's name, try and bring it to the attention of the police. And
he goes to the Yonkers. When you say in Yonkers,
he goes to Yonkers. He talks to.
Isn't he living? He's living in Yonkers though.
Sam Carr is living in Yonkers. Goes into Yonkers, talks to Navarro and Chamberlain, then goes to the detectives division and gives them the same information about his letters, the dogs being shot, Cassaras' letters, and how they may think it's Berkowitz.
Imagine if Nan Cassara didn't care to go further and want to find out who.
Well, again, if he never sent the Sam Carr letters or the Cassara letter for that matter, his name doesn't come out. Okay. So now they have his name, and during that, we then looks up his name because she has police access, and they get a license on him with his picture on it. So now they have his picture, right? So then on July 12th now, okay, this is a month later, they have his name. They went to the police already on him. A sketch had come out. So Sam Carr thought the sketch looked like the driver's license picture that he had of Berkowitz. So on July 12th, 1977, Sam Carr contacts Jimmy Breslin of the Daily News to tell him he saw a composite drawing of the son of Sam in an issue of Time magazine and thought it resembled David Berkowitz. Sam Carr also told Jimmy Breslin about the incidents concerning the threatening letters and of his dog being shot. Jimmy Breslin advised Sam Carr to call Inspector Dowd of the 109th Precinct in Queens. Sam Carr called the 109th Precinct, but Inspector Dowd was not there. He gave his information to an unknown detective. So you see Sam Carr here now. Again, he's trying to get this guy looked at. He's calling Jimmy Breslin, who is popular in New York because he's doing the case in the Daily News. And he's trying to get at least someone to go pay attention to Berkowitz. And not only does he call Breslin here, he shows you he calls the 109th, which is where the task force was being held at. So he can put his complaints in there also about David Berkowitz.
And Breslin by now had received his letter.
Yes.
That's why he would be attracted to Breslin.
Right. Breslin was hot on the topic in the papers. Mm-hmm. So here you see, again, they're
write any articles that Mr. Sam Carr came to him?
Not that we know of.
He didn't.
No, again, this is the only time you see this is in the Yonkers reports that I got from the chief of police, where there was a lot of Yonkers incidents that nobody had seen before. Right.
Well, I've seen an article where David said, they said, why did you do that? And he said he wanted to get caught in regards to writing the get well card and signing it, Sam and Francis. He said, because I wanted to get caught.
And
is
you
there
see
any
from
other
July
explanation why he'd do it?
Yeah, it could only be he just wanted to play games. Remember, he's a buff. Loves starting fires, watching fire people act. Loves doing this, watching police act. He
was such a prankster. Eric, can you see a pattern going on here?
Yeah, there is a pattern, and I still see that pattern today.
No, I mean the neighbors, the noisy dogs, the noisy TV from Craig.
Mm-hmm.
So you think he was doing all this as well as he was in some kind of satanic cult?
Yeah, satanic cult or collectivity. Yes,
whatever you call it.
Because we are focusing on one man and his actions. I can't speak of the others because there's too much that I want to investigate, yet I still believe that's the paradox. But he did have, it comes out I think it's Dr. Caparelli that named the disease when you, I don't think Maury Terry mentions it, the disease of jumping with noise, where noise bothers you. It starts with an M, I think. It's a noise disease that he has. And I don't know if this started when he came back from the military.
Yeah, something was definitely bothering him.
Yeah, I mean, it could have even been
he definitely couldn't sleep, and I think that really got him.
Yeah, that because we don't hear of him or anyone, in his biography, we never hear of him ever. Misophonia.
I've got that, Eric.
Yeah, it's a disorder of sound tolerance characterized by extreme and disproportionate emotional reactions to specific sounds or less commonly visual stimuli in one's environment termed triggers.
Yes, I've got it, and I can confirm it's horrible. But it's
Oh,
random
you mean
noises.
when you say you got it, it's not that you got the information. You suffer from misophonia?
I suffer from misophonia, yeah. Yeah.
Was it diagnosed?
So I'm absolutely fine of noises like fireworks, gunshots, but the sound of someone chewing or whistling or breathing or a fork on a plate, just the most randomest noises is like fingernails on chalkboard to me.
Well, I was talking to my wife, Irena, and something happened to me without intending going deep into this case and studying it. I'm sitting at the table, and maybe she takes a plate out of the drain, and you hear ch-ch-ch, and I go, ah, stop it. I don't know if I've taken something on from being so deeply involved in this, but I never had that before. That never happened to me before. I said, can't you do that noise? Please stop. And she said to me once, she says, this happened. She said, this is the Son of Sam thing. You never were like this before. I'm trying to control it.
Yeah.
I can confirm, Eric, it can be debilitating at times because you don't know when it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It can be unexpected, but I can confirm I do sympathize with David with this. I can handle my own dog barking, but not neighbors' dogs.
Well, it's very
it's being out of control of what somebody else is doing.
What?
It's because you have no control over what that person's doing.
I don't know. I never was like this before, but I will tell you something about. First place, Harvey survived, by the way. Harvey was not murdered.
Of course not.
Harvey the dog. Yeah, he survived the shooting. But I'll tell you something interesting. We talk about people getting affected. And I'm saying maybe this happened to me. Who knows? One day, I found it very, very odd. Hank Chinotti came here, and we were working out in the yard. It's a large place. I forget what was going on. A lot of leaves or something. And next door, there was a house that's no longer there. My friend Gabrielle and her family extended their property and built a hill. And that family had a dog, and the dog kept barking, barking, barking. And I never saw Hank behave like that. Shut that dog up!
Maybe Hank had misophonia.
Yeah, but you know what's weird about it? That we have somebody in the case that he investigated with misophonia. And his personality completely changed. It would shatter him. But he wouldn't do that when we had dogs here. And he'd say, oh, Ethan, how are you? And he says, tell them to shut that dog up. I said, Hank, this is a residential hamlet. We're not in the city. We're not in the Bronx. I just found it, who knows, maybe he was affected. Something happened. I never saw that before. It was very strange how his whole being changed upon hearing the dog next door. It was very, very odd for him.
I think David moving to Pine Street, I think he thought he was going to make a fresh start. And when he got there, he figured out quite quickly that it was even worse than where he was before. And it tipped him over the edge. He's got Craig's TV. He's got the Wicker Street dogs. He's got Sam Carr's dog. I mean, Neo, he's got noises coming from every angle, hasn't he?
And what's the relationship of, I'm asking both of you, of I'm only focusing on him. I'm not going to go into other people or anything, because I admit I can't answer it, but it's something that I've been directed to, not that I want it. What do you think is the relationship of the misophonia and the murders?
Well, I think the noise from the dogs was just tipping him over the edge, Eric. He could get no sleep. I mean, he was doing night shifts, trying to sleep during the day. The dogs are barking, the TV's going, Mrs. Williams' radio's going. It can tip you over. I've done night shifts before, and it is near impossible to sleep during the day.
But
Nevertheless, having
I know what you mean. Sometimes you're so tired you can't sleep. You stay awake. But what I'm trying to say is, what's the correlation of misophonia and being planned to almost go out like on reconnaissance and see where there are not many parked cars, many people around, knowing just what he and where he wanted to go?
well, I believe it was impulsive. Well, he said he went out many nights and never found anybody. So, I mean, Neo, do you think the dogs were triggering him to go out?
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, you see, then we're dealing with something far, far deeper, which, Rothstein had asked about 4 times in the years I've known him, with compassion, not trying to feed it. He says, I want to know what happened to him in the military. I've seen people come back like that, changed. What happened to him in the military?
I don't think it's one thing with David. I think it's a lot of things.
Oh, you read my mind.
Yeah.
You read my mind, because also he had a trait of an only child, but an only child who was adopted. And did he try to kill a parakeet or a parrot?
He tried to kill his mothers, yes. Yes.
Yeah. And also his grandmother, he smashed her matzahs to pieces. Yeah. Hold on. I'm coming. I got to go give some drops to my wife. I'll be back. You excuse me? Carry on.
Yeah. Neo, we think obviously with David, it's like a collective of things that made him go out and do what he did, don't we?
Right.
I agree with you. It's not just one thing, as if he was like an architect and says, I'm going to build this building. It's a complicated case. It's complicated. Who can know why he did what he did, especially when he gives testimony to various people of why he did what he did, the shifting and changing stories.
Wow. Neo, shall we play the audio of Cassaras later?
Yeah, you should do it another time.
You could proceed. I'll be right back. This is a pre-operative medicine for my wife in her eye.
So you going back to July 12th, right? In 77, when he goes to Breslin, that's the first time he's combining David Berkowitz's name with the son of Sam.
Sorry.
He sees the sketch. And he thinks it's the son of. Before that, he's going, and remember, he's not going in there telling him it's the son of Sam. He's going in there telling him, I'm getting these letters, my dog's been shot, I don't know who it is. Then he gets the name, and then he's telling him it could be this guy, but he's not including him to the son of Sam yet. And not until July 12th is that name now being attached to the son of Sam because of Sam Carr. Right.
Sam Carr did a lot.
Huh?
Sam Carr did a lot.
Yes. Sam Carr was going all over the place trying to report everything. So this also after July 12th, this is when the only investigation on the son of Sam, there's only one investigation on the son of Sam, and it's with Intervallo and Chamberlain, Wheat, and Sam. This is when it starts, because now they have his name and think he's the son of Sam. So they start investigating, like they sent some writing samplings they got from his lease with the letters out to FBI. Yeah. And then a day before, now they've looked at this guy for about a month and a half now. Okay. So the day before Craig Glassman's fire on August 5th, 1977, police officer Peter Inavallo and Thomas Chamberlain report to Sergeant Michael Novotny their suspicion on Berkowitz being the son of Sam. The officers also went to the Yonkers Police Intelligence Division and spoke to Detective Richard Salverson of the New York City Police Department Intelligence Division and Detective William Grogan of the Yonkers Police Department Intelligence Division to give them Berkowitz's description, car model, color, and license plate. So here you have now after the only investigation on the son of Sam that you'll ever see. Intervallo and Chamberlain is now reporting to their superiors that they feel that Berkowitz is the son of Sam. And this is where the first time they're talking to the task force also. So that's on the 5th, okay? Right before Craig's fire now that happens, okay? So on August 6, 1977 at 7:30 a.m., Craig Glassman, who is a member of the Westchester County Auxiliary Sheriff's Department and has a police officer's status, reported an arson at his apartment at 6C, 35 Pine Street, Yonkers, New York. The fire was started at the front door of Craig Glassman's apartment. Garbage and 22 caliber bullets were placed at the base of his door, and the fire was lit, causing the bullets to explode, awakening Glassman and his neighbors. The fire was extinguished by neighbors in the Yonkers Fire Department who responded. The damage was contained mainly to the door and the door frame. Craig Glassman gave a report to Lieutenant Starkey of the Yonkers Fire Department at 7:34 a.m. The report stated Craig Glassman told Lieutenant Starkey he had complaints from a neighbor who lives directly above him about his television being too loud. Lieutenant Starkey went to Berkowitz's apartment 7E and knocked on his door to speak with him about the fire, but there was no one home. So the fire to Craig's house. Now that you see the day before, he's contacting the task force, Yonkers. Now this is all because of Wheat Sam and the 2 police officers. So, and then the fire happens to Craig, and they're all called over there. The fire police department both go to Craig's. This is the police departments, okay? Also on this day at 7:35 a.m., Yonkers police officers Windsor and Thomas Chamberlain, along with Detective Murdo Iroquois and Solomon Spivey, interview Craig Glassman upon arrival about the fire set to his door. Craig Glassman then shows the officer a threatening letter he received regarding harm being done to him, which was signed Dezo Demosmuts.
Yeah, I can't pronounce
He received other letters, which were part of an investigation which was being conducted by the Westchester County Sheriff's Department. Craig Glassman also states he was working with investigator David Feliciano and refused to discuss it any further. Officers Chamberlain noticed Sam Carr's name in Craig Glassman's letters and tells Glassman Berkowitz is a possible son of Sam suspect. Officer Chamberlain and Craig Glassman tried to contact Berkowitz by knocking on his door, but there was no one home. They also went up the fire escape to look into Berkowitz's apartment, but there were blankets covering the windows. So this is where, Yonkers is definitely think he's the son of Sam. The day before reporting it to the task force, and now this is all happening right in front of them in Yonkers. They see Craig's letters, see Sam's name. They already know they already know Sam. They've been dealing with Sam with this issue the whole time. So, they were trying to contact him too all day. I know that they were there stalking at his apartment. And also on this day, Sam Carr went to the 109th precinct in Queens at 11:30 and informed an unknown detective and captain of his belief that Berkowitz was the .44 caliber killer. Sam Carr also showed them copies of the threatening letters he received. Sam Carr then informed Detective Lorenzo by phone late that afternoon he had been to the 109th precinct and gave them information on Berkowitz. So you see, Sam is not giving up. Sam is going all over the place trying to get them to at least contact this guy. And for you to think his son is involved in this, it's crazy.
Sam's on one.
Right. And now that's all that information is going on. And then, of course, the phone call comes in on the 9th. And again, because of these letters, they led to the investigation started by Intervallo and Chamberlain. When Wheat was at the police department for that phone call, she was able to give all this information they had prior to justice. And that is what caused them to come up and arrest him. Without these letters and the work done by Intervallo, Chamberlain, Wheat Carr, Sam Carr, and of course, Craig Glassman. As you see in that, Craig Glassman was already on top of this. He had an investigation going on. He actually thought it was letters written by his coworkers. But then he tightens up and says to talk to Feliciano because he had an ongoing investigation with what was going on to him. And he actually, after the fire, Craig Glassman goes to get a warrant to get into Berkowitz's apartment on his own, and it got denied over not enough evidence to do so. So if it wasn't for Sam Carr's letters in the beginning, if it wasn't for Berkowitz starting this whole chain of letters and then being able to reveal his name from it, you would not have had that information for that phone call, and Zigo would not have been up here as fast as he was.
Yeah, every sequence of events led to the other one. So essentially, without all those puzzle pieces, this may not have played out the way it did.
Well, that's how he got caught, you know.
Even we answering the phone to Justice, things could have turned out.
Even Sal.
It was Salvatore DiMaggio who answered the phone.
Yeah, even Sal listening to Wheat prior.
Yeah.
In the office, because he says she was going around saying, "This is the son of Sam. This is, it's him." Putting up the letters in the office saying, she knew, she kind of figured all this out. And so when Sal picked up the phone, luckily he knew to transfer that call to me, because she had the information that led for them to come up, because she, again, and those officers were the only ones to do an investigation on the son of Sam.
Well, yeah, time ago when I did a show, and one of these letters was up like Weeman, and we are in Weeman. It doesn't say we are the sons of Sam, no, but there's one of the letters where it says there are many of us. I'm paraphrasing.
He says there are more sons out there. God help the world.
Yeah, I myself had said on the show. Now, mind you, I did not see until this past summer. I did not see Sons of Sam, Descent into Darkness, and all the other subtitles of that film by Josh Zeman. I didn't see it until now. But I said, now he was in the military. What if Sons of Sam means, Uncle Sam wants you in the military? I don't see that poster anymore anywhere. It was common when I was a child and a younger man. I said, what if there's just a deflection to make you think Sam Carr and his sons are involved, and that it's not really something else, Sons of Sam, the military. That's what he's really referring to.
It's a possibility. I mean, I guess
that's why
him, but
I never.
Me, the son of Sam is Harvey.
Yeah, the son of Sam is Harvey.
Right. If you read the Borelli letter, and I'll do this on another show, I'll break it down for you. You see the letter, okay, in between the two Sam Carr letters. Okay, so Harvey is his object right there. He's mad at Harvey. So that letter on the 17th, in between the 10th and the 20th letter, when he does the shooting, the letter he drops on the 17th, the Borelli letter, he's talking from Harvey's perspective, I don't really want to go over too much of it now. It's in my book. I'll break it down in another show. But there's plenty of things in that letter that show you the son of Sam is Harvey.
Mm-hmm. That's very. But
the Army thing that you're talking about, the pastor I contacted, he felt that was it also. So like I said, it's not a unreasonable theory to it. Even the pastor felt that way. Again, you'd have to kind of, I can't say I'm right either without Berkowitz admitting things. And, at this point, what's the point?
Well, he's given different accounts of how the name came about. He said one time, it just came to me. I don't know. Sam and his dog were bothering me. And then he says Sam Hain.
Right. And this is where the police got, he was talking to dogs. You got to understand the police put that out. He wasn't talking to dogs. If you look at this whole case, the dogs were bothering. But the letters that they were reading, because of the Borelli letter, that's why they put that out in the press. And he was, talking to dogs went out there. It wasn't necessarily talking to dogs. It's just the way that those letters read.
Well, in a conversation I had with Mr. Paul Hart about 2 days ago, Saturday evening, he's been doing he wants to come on live.
Anytime.
And he's been doing a lot of research about a crime reporter, which I'll let him name. And this crime reporter had inside information from the police, not only about the Son of Sam case, but also about the Wendy Savino shooting. And there was a lot of information the police gave this man about the Borelli letter that was not even conveyed to the public by the chief of police who spoke about it.
Like what? Anything in particular you remember, or?
I think I can't remember exactly what Paul said, but it had to do like I'm a monster, Weeman.
Right.
I mean, I actually thought that he was saying women to make women evil like demon.
Yeah, of course he was.
Right.
But then
And with the monster, I am a monster. Okay. He's saying I am a monster, and he calls Harvey monster in his other letters that he writes.
And
So
he signs
that's just one of the things
Borelli,
in that
Mr.
letter.
Monster. He signs Borelli, yours in murder, Mr. Monster.
Yeah, well,
But he starts it off, I am a monster.
Mm-hmm.
I am a brat. Okay. I am a brat. Who's bothering Berkowitz? The dog. The dog is being a brat to Berkowitz.
Well, actually, somebody did tell me that there was the word women was maybe an older form in Anglo-Saxon for woman. Of course, if
It's
I just think it's a mashup of demon
right,
and
right.
yeah, I
don't
actually
look too much into it, Eric.
well, no, not me. It's what somebody said to me.
I wonder who that was.
I actually think that it is it's trying to say that women are evil, women, right. Demon.
Right. He does think women are evil. That's one of his points why he's targeting. Yeah. He blames them for a lot of bad things going on in his life. Mm-hmm. It's just one of the angles of why he thinks his life sucks.
Yeah.
So many topics to discuss, isn't there, guys?
Right.
Well, it's quite a rich topic.
Endless.
That's what's good about this case compared to, say, Jeffrey Dahmer or Ted Bundy. There's so many more layers to this.
Well, I can tell you something. There are people who wonder about the Ted Bundy case.
Oh, don't stop right there, Eric. I can't be dealing with anymore.
I haven't gone deeply into it. Why did you execute him when he was so good in helping, I think, catch what? Did he assist in catching the Green River Killer?
Yes.
Okay. So why, what's going on here? Why do you execute the guy so soon? And Jeffrey Dahmer, well, I don't think that's cut and dry, Rena. I mean, I've got the letter right. I've got the letter from Milwaukee here from Brother John Rainieri and Jeffrey Dahmer telling the detective who interviewed him and made a book out of it about Brother Rainieri drugging and abusing him. So it's I think the Dahmer case is not that cut and dry. I think there were other people with him, definitely.
Why do you think that, Eric?
Okay, when I watched the news report of his capture, my mother and I, it was daytime in the back room where there was a television at the time. We were disgusted by what the police said, this immature personality in Milwaukee, they laughed at the sequence of words. Naked, young Vietnamese boy with blood coming out of his anus running down.
Eric.
I'm sorry. I didn't do that on purpose. You just asked. Now,
I think you just need to remember, Eric, there's some very, 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 very bad men out there. Okay.
Yeah. So why
Not
did the cops laugh at that? You hear the cops laughing on the recording, and they actually gave that boy back. They gave him back to Dahmer. They handed him over. They
didn't know what they were doing. Obviously.
Yeah, you have to question these things. They must be questioned.
Well, there was obviously some rogue cops. No doubt about that.
You got bad in every group you got.
Mm-mm. But I wonder if Dahmer was really alone.
Absolutely, Eric. I have no doubt about that. The percentage of serial killers acting in more than one's especially in groups, as we discussed the other day.
You might be correct, but then again, I think the term serial killer is abused.
I think it's too horrified these days.
There's a series of murders. Like I was talking to Thomas Morris, who knows everything about the topography and geography of California, and the Presidio murders. there were so many murders that went from California up to Washington State, might have even gone over into British Columbia. And they all tried to say that these murders were related. But yet you had in the vicinity of Presidio a number of homicides done the same way, and they don't group them together. Now, you know, that's what Morris told me. So it's you know, all of these cases are complex. What did she say here? Channel called Dharma Analysis puts forth a good argument against Dharma being alone. That's Conspiracy Archives. Thank you.
Well, we're going to continue this in part 2 with the audio tape of Nan Cassaras, which is very interesting. It's about 45 minutes long.
Right.
And
Maybe in a little bit we'll come back.
And is this an interview? I mean,
yeah, with Herb Leifer.
Yeah.
Okay, with Herbert Leifer. Good.
Yes.
Good.
Yes. So that's going to be the second part of this.
And when are we going to podcast this?
Maybe a little bit, a couple hours.
Yep. I need to go and eat some dinner because I'm famished, as they say.
All right.
And I'm way ahead of you guys. You're having lunch and I'll be having dinner. So, yeah, part 2, the audio, which is, she says some very interesting things, Neo, doesn't she? That will get his tongues wagging.
Yeah, I'm going to show you a part of this tape that made me realize why the police may have overlooked a few things in Wicker Street. Again, I came up with this theory just by a lot of the complaints in the neighborhood. And I also put it past some of the police that were active back then, and they agreed. So, yeah, there's a part of that tape I'm going to show you how they could have overlooked a lot of stuff that was going in the neighborhood.
Well, that's exactly, well, there you find yourself almost not the same, but similar to Maury Terry and others, that so much has been overlooked by the cops.
All right.
Well, keep your eyes peeled, guys.
Right.
Maybe we'll come back later.
Yeah, we'll do this later.
Well,
I
hope I see the notice. You have a time range?
I'll talk to you in a minute.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
All right. I like
Be good.
the ease
All right.
out.
In a little while.
All right.
Peace out.